What's going on, everybody? This is Nintendo here. This is gonna be a new series that I'm gonna be doing that is gonna take a while to make, but I do believe you guys are mostly gonna enjoy this video. I made an announcement on my community tab on the upcoming challenge that I'm gonna be doing, and I'm gonna be doing the best Pokemon team challenge. The goal of this challenge is that I make the best team possible and we plow through the entire game with that team, and we pretty much just decimate everybody. Like, that's basically the gist of it. I'm pretty much going to be showing you what's the best team possible that we're going to make in this entire game. And I'm going to be starting this off with Pokemon Yellow. The reason I'm doing Pokemon Yellow is solely because of the fact that Yellow's easily the better Gen 1 game, because Red and Blue, they're pretty easy, I'm gonna admit to that. So at least Yellow's gonna be a little bit more challenging, so it might actually prove to be a lot more of a better watching video for you guys here to watch. Before we continue on the video, if you guys do like this challenge, then make sure you guys like the video down below, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new to my channel, and click the bell for notification when I post up new videos. And go follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are all gonna be linked in the description below for you guys to go and check out. Before we also continue on further, I want to talk about a couple of rules that I'm gonna be making. The first rule is I am allowed to use Trade Evolution Pokemon, but I will be telling you guys some alternative Pokemon that you could also get in this game rather than needing Trade Evolutions. The reason I'm doing that is solely because of the fact that we're here to make the best team possible, and we have to use Trade Evolution Pokemon in order to do that. That, and because of the fact that as a kid I always had a trade console, so I pretty much don't have to worry about that. But you guys, obviously the majority of you probably don't have like another Game Boy Advance or a DS or a 3DS to trade with somebody else. So I'm going to be showing you guys some alternative ways for you to get better Pokemon without trading. The second rule is I am allowed to use Legendaries, but I am not allowed to use the most OP Legendaries. What am I referring to is the fact that, I'll give you an example. In Gen 2, I am allowed to use Suicune, Entei, Raikou, and the Legendary Birds. However, I'm not allowed to use Mewtwo, Mew, Lugia, Ho-Oh, like the Mythicals or the Box Art Legendaries or the OP Legendaries. I'm saying that I'm allowed to use the legendary Pokemon that you could use in like Battle Frontier as an example. The reason is because I want to also tack on some legendaries into the mix for the best team video, but I want to make it where my entire team isn't really stacked with legendaries. So I am allowed to include at least one legendary Pokemon on the team, and that's about it. All the other Pokemon are going to be non-legendaries. And that's pretty much it in regards to the rules, because we're here to make the best team possible. If we have to do the Battle Subway, we gotta do the Battle Subway. The Battle Frontier and Heart Gold Soul Silver, we gotta do them. And in order to get possibly the best items, moves, TMs, and everything for our Pokemon, because we're here to make the best team. And so with all the introductions out of the way, it's finally time we continue on with this video, because we already plowed through right through our rival battle, solely because of the fact that with the rival, our starter Pokemon is going to be Squirtle, which, to be fair, most of these Pokemon that you're going to get early game are just going to be temporarily Pokemon for the better Pokemon that we're going to be getting later on in the game. So do keep that in mind. So we had to get the Oak's parcel because Professor Oak can't go and run it by himself. And after we give it to him, we officially got a Pokedex. Unfortunately, in Gen 1, we aren't able to get 5 Pokeballs from him. So as a result of that, we basically have to buy our own. But ignoring that, we're going to be going and getting our first encounter, which for this route, we're going to be getting ourselves a Nidoran male. That's right, getting ourselves a Nidoran male is going to be our first Pokemon that we're going to be getting on our team. but it is going to be temporarily because we're not going to be using Nidoking throughout the entire game, just for the beginning stages of this game. But that's not the only Pokemon we're going to be getting in this route. So we're going to be getting another Pokemon, and that Pokemon is going to be a Mankey. That's right, we're getting ourselves a monkey right on our team. But it's mostly, again, just going to be here for temporarily. So after I got the Mankey, I ended up training up my team, and we're going to be taking on our rival right here. Our rival isn't really going to be that difficult. The main thing is with the EV is that it really depends on what the encounter is. Because if we're facing our rival right here, we're going to be locking ourselves right into Jolteon, mostly Jolteon. But facing off with Jolteon actually isn't the worst thing in the world. So do keep that in mind because Jolteon isn't really going to be that much of a problem. But really, I'm going to be honest here, our rival fight isn't really going to be that difficult because really most of the time we're just going to be using our level 11 Pikachu to just plow roll throughout his remaining of his 2 Pokemon, which only had a Spearow and Eevee. So really, he wasn't that difficult. But for right now, we're going to be taking our break from our journey to watch this old man try to capture himself a Rattata, and let's see if he actually got it. No. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Well, so much for the old man and his coffee. Well, that's going to be a fun moment to last a lifetime. But now after watching an old man fail, it's time for us to take on Brock the Rock now. Okay, my strategy against Brock isn't really that difficult. Let's be honest here. If you catch yourself a Mankey or Nidoran male, train up to give it double kick. And actually, to be fair, double kick is actually fighting in this game. So as a result, it wasn't normal type like in red and blue. So because of that, it actually makes Brock so much easier for us to actually beat him. So yeah, Geodude is really not much on a palm. And Onyx here, let's be up and real here. It's not really going to be that big of an issue. It's defensively a bit bulky. Its special defense is utter crap. But the main thing is, it's Onyx. It's Onyx in Gen 1 is one of the worst Pokemon of all time. And it's complete dog crap. So because of that, Brock is running crap against us. And obviously, it's not really that good of a Pokemon. And we easily power right to Brock. Because Brock is really that difficult if you're playing just like how I am doing. So with that said, Brock pretty much took us for granted, and he ended up failing, and we got the Boulder Badge for it. And we're going to be ignoring his TM, which he gives us TM for Bide, which is not a good move. Now we're going to make it all the way to Mount Moon, but before that, we end up having to evolve our Nidoran male against a random trainer for us to get our Nidorino. Yep, Nidorino is still going to be really good here, especially when we're going to get a Moonstone in Mount Moon. So we're going to be getting ourselves a Nidoking a lot earlier. And so at Mount Moon, we're going to be getting ourselves our 4th team member. And it's going to be a Clefairy. Again, Clefable is going to be she's not going to remain on a team, let's just say that much. But to be fair, a Clefable, we're going to be able to get it also early. Because at Mount Moon, we get 2 Moonstones. So I'm going to be using one on Nidorino to get Nidoking, and I'm going to be using one on Clefairy to get a Clefable. Again, they're both temporarily, but having 2 fully evolved Pokemon at this stage in the game is actually a really good thing. And I also taught it both Mega Punch and Water Gun, which you can get also in Mount Moon as well. Now for the battle we all came here to see. Y'all came here to watch me face up against Jesse and James from Team Rocket. So we all know about Jesse and James from the anime. They have an against coughing and Meowth. But to be fair here, I'm not too worried about them. Because for one, they're Team Rocket. And 2, they aren't gonna have much very good against Pikachu. Like, let's be honest here, it's Pikachu. It's the main mascot of the anime. It's the one that they try to capture for like, what, the 25 years and failing to get it every single time. Like, you think we're actually gonna lose to Jesse and James? Like, dude, that would actually be like so funny. Imagine if we actually lost to Jesse and James. I would never live that up. like ever. But yeah, mostly Team Rocket is pretty much a joke, like how they are in the anime. And surprisingly enough, they actually did get Pikachu all the way down to just 2 HP. So I guess they weren't too bad, but they didn't take out Pikachu. So yeah, they were pretty bad. Still love them regardless. But anyways, guys, we end up beating Team Rocket, and we make it all the way out of Mount Moon into Celadon City. Just for us to go up to Nugget Bridge for us to take on our rival, the Toilet. Okay, for our strategy against Toilet, I'm really not too worried about him. Like, to be fair, I'm never worried about Toilet. Because, to be fair, in Pokemon Yellow, Toilet actually isn't as difficult here now when you think about it. Especially with in Red and Blue. Later on, especially when you get to Silph Co, we haven't gone that far in the game, so I'm keeping that complete silent. But yeah, with a fully evolved Clefable, I really wasn't too worried about our rival here. With Clefable, we're able to take out the Spearow pretty easily. Sandshrew, we have Water Gun, so I'm not really too worried about the Sandshrew. And then there's his Rat, which the only thing I'm worried about with Rattata is the fact that I keep missing Mega Punch. But other than that, I really wasn't too worried about Rattata. It's a Rattata. It's not Youngster Joey, so keep that in mind. And as for the Eevee, again, I'm not really too worried about it as long as I actually hit the Mega Punches. But I do actually hit Mega Punches, and we're able to take out the Eevee. And yeah, again, our rival isn't really that difficult in Pokemon Yellow. I actually feel like he's a bit of a downgrade. If we're talking about like Nugget Bridge, our rival is pretty much a downgrade here compared to like even Red and Blue, because he had like a Pidgeotto. But for a reward after beating up our rival the Toilet, we get to talk to this random guy and we get a Charmander from him, which is going to be temporarily on our team again. So, we still haven't gotten our official team member yet. And while we're at Celadon City, we're also gonna pick ourselves up a Bulbasaur, which we have to pick up a Bulbasaur if we talk to Pikachu so many times and get like a very friendly response from it. Bulbasaur is gonna be temporarily again on our team, but it's gonna be very useful against Misty. And so I decided to train up Charmander right into a Charmeleon, and then also train up Bulbasaur right into an Ivysaur. And after a surprise Pikachu face from Bill, and snag ourselves the SS ticket in the process, we get to go and take on our second gym leader, Misty. Here's the thing with Misty. This isn't Fire Red Leaf Green Misty. This is Pokemon Yellow Misty. Meaning not only is her AI terrible, but the only best move that Stormy can hit Ivysaur with is pretty much Bubble Beam. So, I'm not too worried about Misty in Yellow. Like, let's be real here. Even in Red and Blue, Misty was actually a pretty big joke. And I got the punchline. But yeah, Staryu's a pretty big joke, and I decided to get rid of Growl for Poison Powder, because the thing is, we don't really need Growl, and we don't really need Poison Powder, but it's better than Growl. And as for the Starmie, sometimes Misty will either use Harden or use like an X Defend, but because Vine Whip in this game is special, it really doesn't matter. It basically prevents X Defend from really doing anything with it. And basically, we took out Starmie. Starmie isn't really that difficult, like I just said. So in English, Misty sucks. And we got TM for Bubble Beam as a result of that. And that's 2 badges down. But after beating up Misty, we also had to beat up a Team Rocket Grunt because he stole TM for Dig. And we need that TM for Dig, which honestly, we actually don't need Dig. Because, unfortunately, Nidoking can't learn Dig in Pokemon Yellow, let alone Red and Blue. But I still want to beat him up anyways because it's a TM for Dig. But now, we could officially get ourselves our first real Pokemon that's going to be on our team throughout the entire game. And that Pokemon is going to be Abra. The main issue here with Abra is the fact that, for one, it has Teleport, and 2, Clefable has Sing, but its accuracy sucks. So it is gonna take some time for us to capture ourselves an Abra, but after some patience, we could officially get ourselves an Abra, because it takes some time for you guys to get an Abra, but the payoff is worth it, because Alakazam is insanely busted in Gen 1. But to be fair here, With Alakazam, it is a trade evolution Pokemon, so I am gonna give a recommendation before we take on the Elite Four of something that you could replace Alakazam with. But I'm gonna save that for later. And the other difficult thing is the fact that Abra does only know Teleport. So because of that, if you're gonna train up into a Kadabra, you're gonna have to be switching around, which does take some time. But the timing is worth it because once Houdini evolves into a Kadabra, it gets a little confusion. So that's really good. And after a Trainer Evolution later, we got ourselves an Alakazam, aka my most favorite Pokemon, aka one of the most busted Pokemon in Gen 1. So with an Alakazam on our team, I think we're going to be looking really nice right here. But before we show you guys the true busted powers of Alakazam, we have to grab TMO8 from the SSN, which contains the move Body Slam, which is a really good move, but we're going to be saving Body Slam for later because there's one Pokemon that we can get in this game which Body Slam would be really good for. So keep Body Slam in mind for the time being. But for right now, it's time for us to face off against Toilet. Against Toilet, Spearo's gonna get electrocuted by Pikachu. It's not really that difficult. Honestly, I don't think we really have to use Alakazam too much here because with Alakazam, it's easy to level it up and it's really powerful, but later on Alakazam would be even more powerful later on down the line. The only thing that's really obnoxious with our rival is the fact that Sandshrew actually does have the move Slash, which Slash always gets a critical hit in Gen 1, and that's really obnoxious. Even if Sandshrew is just a Sandshrew, it's still an automatic critical hit Slash. But again, a Sandshrew is just a Sandshrew. And really against Eevee, I'm not really too worried about it because it's not a Jolteon yet. So it's still just an Eevee. So I'm not really that worried about it. And really, we could take out our rival pretty easily. Funny enough, in Yellow, even in the SS and our rival's actually a lot more easier than in Red and Blue. Because in Red and Blue at this point, what? He had like a Pidgeotto, a Kadabra, a Raticate, Ivysaur, Charmeleon, Wartortle? Like, he's just way stronger in Red and Blue and Fire and Leaf Green than in Yellow. That's just so funny. Of course, even funnier is the fact where he had to rub a captain's back in order for us to get an HM cut. Like, we have to get cut by rubbing a captain's back. But now we have to say bye-bye to the SSN, which is going to be going on its maiden voyage, and it's probably going to sink like it did in the anime. And so while the SSN goes off and sinks, we're going to be taking on Lieutenant Surge with his only one Pokemon. Funny enough, Lieutenant Surge in this game is actually pretty strong, but with our Nidoking on our team, we don't have to worry too much about his Raichu. Really, the only thing we have to worry about is the fact that Raichu does know Mega Punch and Mega Kick. But with the fact that we have Thrash and we got a critical hit immediately, and the fact that Lieutenant Surge AI is dumb and it went for the Growl, and with double back-to-back critical hits, like, really, with a Nidoking, we don't have to worry too much about Surge. Funny enough, even though Nidoking can't even learn Dig, we still did really well against Lieutenant Surge, and we beat him, and we got ATM for Thunderbolt, and the Thunder Badge to boot. And Thunderbolt is a really good move, like, I don't think anybody's gonna deny that. And for a reward after beating Lieutenant Surge, if we talk to Officer Jenny, we can get ourselves a Squirtle, which, again, temporarily, but there's a much better water type coming on down the line. So, for right now, we're gonna get ourselves a Wartortle. And so after we train up our team through Diglett's Cave, with our levels going from 24 all the way to 27, we can start making our way all the way through Rock Tunnel. Which, Rock Tunnel, the most difficult thing about it is getting through Rock Tunnel, which sometimes you may need HM for Flash, but in this game, or mostly on the emulator that I'm playing on, you could see the giant rocks from behind, and seeing those rocks is basically the most easiest thing to why you don't need Flash, because I know how to get through Rock Tunnel. So because of that, Walk Tunnel isn't really that difficult, mostly. The transfer aren't really that hard. Really, the only thing that's hard is the fact that I didn't buy any repels. And so because I didn't even buy any repels, I'm going to keep running into wild encounters. So because of that, it's going to be a little bit annoying. But other than that annoying gruff, annoying gruff. But after running into those annoying Pokemon, we make it all the way to Lavender Town. Just for us to heal up and pretty much leave. We're going to be coming back to Lavender Town soon, but I just want to point that out because it's really funny. And we make it all the way to Celadon, and there's a lot of things to do right here in Celadon City. First things first, we grab the coin case from this old geezer who doesn't do gambling anymore because he's broke. But we sure can do that. Okay, kids, don't do gambling. Which is why gambling ended up being removed in later games. But for right now, we end up having the game corner. But we're saving the game corner for later. Second off, we grab ourselves an Eevee. Which, yes, Eevee is going to be our second team member. And we're going to be nicknaming it Volks. That pretty much shows on what we're going to be evolving it into. That's right, if you guys haven't guessed it right now, we're going to be evolving our Eevee right into Jolteon. Jolteon is a really fast Pokemon, and in Gen 1, one of the biggest things about it is that critical hits always judge based on speed. And Jolteon is one of the most fastest Pokemon in Gen 1. So, because of that, we're going to be taking advantage of it, as well as the fact we're going to teach it Thunderbolt, because it's Thunderbolt. Best electric type move in the game, Jolteon's an electric type, it gets stabbed, and critical hits, baby. I know there's Zapdos, but we really don't need Zapdos here. So I end up buying 2 fresh water so I can give one to this little girl, because if you give her a fresh water, we get TM for Ice Beam. There's also TM for Rock Slide and Tri-Attack, but Rock Slide's okay, Tri-Attack sucks. But Ice Beam is easily the best move that she gives us. So we're going to be taking Ice Beam from there, which we're going to be saving it for a later Pokemon. And we're going to be giving the other fresh water to this officer, so that we could be able to go out to Saffron City. Yeah, this officer simply just can't go out and buy his own water. So we had to give it for him. And if you go into Mr. Psychic's house, he would give us TM29, which contains Psychic, the best Psychic type move in the game. Which, again, saving it for a later Pokemon. I know I keep saying that a lot, but there's a lot of things you gotta save up for in the League of Pokemon in order for you to become a Pokemon Master. And while we're at it, we'll grab HMO2 Fly, because really, we don't need Fly for any of our Pokemon other than like an HM Slave. But other than that, we don't have to really need Fly for anything. And so now it's time for us to go and take on Team Rocket. But before we do that, we have to watch a Team Rocket called Drop the Lift Key. Oh man, this is so funny. Like, I just love that, how he's like, oh no, I dropped the lift key. Now that was absolutely hilarious. But what's even more hilarious is the fact that we're going to be taking on Jesse and James again. As for Jesse and James, like, to be fair, if they're struggling against a Pikachu, what makes you think they're going to do well against a Jolteon? Like, this is going to be so funny here. Like, Jolteon is going to be Thunderbolting the entire team. Like, it's basically like how Pikachu did in the anime. Like, Thunderbolt is just insanely good, and Team Rocket just keeps getting Thunderbolted. And really, they're not really that strong. But now, let's have some fun against Giovanni. So Giovanni's team in Pokemon Yellow mostly consists of Onyx, a Whitehorn, and a Persian. Onyx, it's Onyx. Like, I told this before with Brock, and I'll tell it again. It's Onyx, it sucks, it's bad, it's Garbo. And Ivysaur also gets to learn Razor Leaf, which is makes it even more better. And it learned it at a perfect time too, especially when we're going to be dealing against the Persian. And then obviously Whitehorn's going to meet the same fate as Onyx, because Whitehorn's special defense is not very good, and Razor Leaf always quits. So because of that, Whitehorn immediately gets taken out. And as for Persian, the only thing that's really difficult about it is the fact that if it quits like so many times, because Persian's a pretty fast Pokemon, and again, Gen 1 is based off speed. However, Razor Leaf always crits, and with 2 Razor Leafs, we could basically take out the Persian. So really, Giovanni isn't really that difficult, so really you shouldn't be worrying too much about him. You guys follow my directions. So that's Giovanni out of the way. And we end up grabbing the Silph Co from him as a reward. And we get to head all the way to Lavender Town. We're gonna be saving Erika for later. But for right now, we gotta make our rival Toilet's Pokemon faint. Because we killed his Raticate and he wants his revenge on us. However, we have a Jolteon while he has a Fearow. And obviously it's Jolteon, so it's not gonna stand any sort of chance. And then he has a Shelter, which, that is so funny how he's throwing out a Shelter against a Jolteon and expecting it to basically survive a Thunderbolt. Like, oh man, I feel bad for that Shelter. Like, let's just be honest here. And we learned Double Kick, which is basically makes it even better. And then he brings out a Vulpix, which Vulpix gonna meet the exact same fate as its brethren. Then as for the Sandshrew, again, I'm not way too worried about Sandshrew. It doesn't know Dig, and because of that, it's not really too much of a threat. It's still not a Sandslash yet, so Sandshrew is pretty easy. And as for the Eevee, we're fully evolved. We're Jolteon. Eevee still hasn't evolved yet, and we're not too scared of an Eevee. Like, let's just be honest. And that's Toilet out of the way. So, we basically send all of his Pokemon to a grave. That is actually very sad when you guys think about it. But anyways, guys, I really feel bad for the fact we killed his Raticate. But, again, he challenged us so many times and he keeps getting destroyed. So, I don't really know how I feel. However, for right now, I am feeling great because we get ourselves our 3rd Pokemon we're going to be adding to our team, which is going to be a Gengar. Again, Gengar is a Trade Evolution Pokemon, so before I take on the Elite Four, I will give out a Pokemon that I'm going to be placing Gengar with, for any of you guys who don't have, like, anyone to trade with, so save that for later. I caught the Ghastly at level 24, so that we just have to train up 1 level for us to get a Haunter. You can catch a Haunter here, but I decided to catch a Ghastly anyways because it's a lot easier. And after 1 Trade Evolution later, and what I mean by Trade Evolution, I mean I cheat 1 up to evolve it, and we got ourselves a Gengar. And Gengar is a really good Pokemon. It has really good speed. It has really good special stats. Mind you guys, special stats are the exact same stat as special attack and special defense. So it's both a good special offensive and a good special defensive. And we also teach Gengar Psychic because we need a good special attacking move on it. Because the only ghost move that's in this game that's really good is Nightshade, and it's not the best move in the world. And really we need a good special attack, so Psychic's gonna have to be where it is. And now it's time for us to face off against Cubone's Mother, aka the Melwack. And with an Alakazam, like, let's be honest here, it's not gonna stand any chance because Alakazam's insanely busted. And so that Melwack is basically just good as dead. And it goes right to the afterlife where it has a very sad moment. Like, I saw the moment in Pokemon, I think it was like Pokemon Origins. Like, it was a really sad moment. But what else is even sadder is the fact that we're gonna have to take on Team Rocket now. And unfortunately for Jesse and James, we're staring in front of an Alakazam. Like, if they're struggling against a Pikachu, if they're struggling against a Jolteon, against an Alakazam, like, honestly, at this point, I think Team Rocket should retire. Like, that would just be so sad. At the fact that they're dealing with so many, like, insanely busted Pokemon. And essentially, they're just gonna get completely one-shotted. Like, I just felt bad for them at this point. Honestly, Giovanni should give Jesse and James a raise. Especially with the fact that they constantly just keep on losing every single time. But now we rescue Mr. Fuji, and we got ourselves the Pokefruit from him, which can get ourselves our 4th Pokemon that's gonna be our permanent member for our team. But before that happens, we get to evolve our Ivysaur right into a Venusaur. Wow, the fact that we actually evolved our Ivysaur into a Venusaur, despite the fact that it's a temporary team member, Honestly, it's a really cool Pokemon, and we all know what I'm going by when I said that. But I'm saving that statement for later, and for right now, let's get our 4th team member. And obviously, it's gonna be Snorlax. Like, isn't it obvious? Like, Snorlax is just insanely good. Like, how can we say no to a Snorlax that's at level 30 right now, have pretty good physical attack? The only downside is the fact that its special defense is not nearly as good in Gen 1 compared to what would later become in Gen 2 onwards, so we do have to keep that in mind. But it gets to move Amnesia, so that actually does make it even better. The problem is the fact that it has a pretty low catch rate, so because of that, we end up failing to catch it a couple of times before we eventually caught it. So yeah, Snorlax, a really good team member for us to have. And also we gotta name it Theodore from Alvin and the Chipmunks, so but anyways guys, with Theodore now officially our 4th team member we get to add to our team, we have to go all the way back for us to get the Super Rod, because the Super Rod is going to be very useful for us to get a new Pokemon for our team. And we're still not ready to face Erika yet, because we still need to get our remaining 2 team members. So because of that, we have to head all the way to Fuchsia City for us to grab our 5th team member. And that 5th team member is gonna be a Staryu. Yeah, Starmie is insanely good. It's fast, it hits hard, it's a Starmie. Like, how can you ever ask for a better water type Pokemon that's actually way better than Blastoise in Gen 1? And it's just really easy to capture because with Hypnosis we can just put it to sleep and just chuck a Great Ball at it and we could just catch it. Like, Staryu is not that hard to capture. In terms for training it, obviously Diglett's Cave is the #1 big thing we could train at. And of course we gotta name it Ruby Madness! Ruby Madness! And so now with Ruby Madness on our team, we can get ourselves our 6th and final team member for our team. And that one you can capture at the Safari Zone. And let's see if we can actually encounter it on our first try. And funny enough, we actually encountered it on our first try. It's gonna be a Tauros. Tauros, it's Tauros. Okay, it's the king of Gen 1 OU. It's literally the best normal type in the entire game, and it's very hard to capture, and it does take a lot of time. Like, if we're talking like in real life time, this actually did took me hours for me to capture a Tauros, but it's worth it because, like I said, it's one of, if not the best normal type in the entire game, and it's the king of OU, what I have to say. And so this is a montage of me failing to capture Tauros, because I want to show you guys that, yes, it is actually difficult to try to capture a Tauros. It does take time. But one of the things I do actually recommend is that, unlike in later gens, you could actually save in the Safari Zone. So if time does run out, you could just restart your game. And you don't have to keep wasting money, you don't have to keep wasting time, and because of that, it actually makes the process go a lot more easier. So because of that, it does take time, but the timing is very worth it, because if you guys take all the time that you need, you could officially catch yourself a Tauros like I just did right here. And we got our 6th team member, one of the best Pokemon of Generation 1, and it's gonna be our 6th and final team member. And after we do some training, we could pretty much end up having a fully evolved team right now. And we haven't even took on Erika yet, and we only have 3 badges, and we're gonna have a fully evolved team after some training. However, since we're already here, we might as well go and get the gold teeth, which will give us the HM for strength if we talk to the Safari Zone Warden. And we might as well get HM03 Surf, because for our Staryu, that's going to be really good, because the best training area is easily Diglett's Cave. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's either Diglett's Cave, or in Pokemon Yellow, you could also use Super Rods to encounter Tentacruels, which you can use the tentacles for grinding as well, which you can encounter tentacles in the exact same area where you capture Staryu at. So that's really good training area as well. And so I end up training Ruby Madness up to level 27 because you don't want to evolve Staryu into Starmie just yet until you learn the move Recover, which you can't learn Recover once Staryu evolves into Starmie. And Recover is a healing move, and Recover is really good. Like, let's just say to that. But after we teach you Recover, you could just use your Water Stone on Staryu right now in order to evolve it into a Starmie. And after we get ourselves a Starmie with Recover, we officially have a fully evolved team right now. And again, we only have 3 badges still. I have also taught Tauros to move Body Slam, because Body Slam's a really good normal type move, and Tauros is a really good normal type, and it gets stab off of it. So yeah, that's why we saved Body Slam for. But now we take an emergency trip all the way to Silph Co, so that we could just face off against this random Team Rocket grunt, who basically just have a Machoke, so with our Gengar, we don't have to worry too much about it. And the reason why is because we can get TM26 Earthquake, which obviously we're going to teach it to our Tauros, because it's a physical attacker and having to move Earthquake on it, it would be really, really good. But now it's time for one of the most difficult things of them all. And that is, it's time for us to get a TM right here in the game corner. I end up saving up a good amount of money, which we have over 100,000 Poké-Dollars, and we need about 5,500 coins in order for us to get that TM. So, because of that, I'm gonna have to speed this up, and we'll wait till after I get all those coins.
1 hour later.
So after a couple of hours later, we got 5,580 coins. And we buy TM15. And TM15 contains the move Hyper Beam. In Gen 1, if you take out a Pokemon with Hyper Beam, it doesn't recharge. So which makes Hyper Beam a really, really good move. And it has 150 base attack power, and Tauros, again, really good Pokemon. And while I'm at it, I might as well give the Savara Zone Warden his gold teeth back, because we're gonna need HM for strength for later on in Victory Road. But now, with everything said and done, it's time we go back to more training, because we got some trainers to face off screen. So, I'll meet you guys back after I'm done training up my team. Okay, everybody, so I trained up my team all the way up from level 34 to level 36, and I gotta say, with our team now fully evolved, I think we're basically gonna be looking really good for this game. And honestly here, we still only have 3 badges, and I'm pretty sure our last remaining badges, I honestly believe we're gonna do really well against them. Like, let's be honest here. With our team being very stacked right now, I do believe we're gonna have a really good chance of actually beating this game now, because we're making the best team possible for you guys to become a Pokemon Master. And now, after all those hours are done, it's finally time we jump right into Erika right now, because with Erika, I'm not too worried about her. Like, let's be honest here. We have a really good team, and I'm confident that we could beat Erika with just Tauros. Just to show you guys just how really good Tauros actually is in Gen 1. So we're gonna buy some of the Tangela. It is gonna be a 2-shot. The only thing we have to worry about is if it actually gets a Paralyze on us, which it didn't. And because of that, we're able to just take out the Tangela here. And really, for the last 2 remaining Pokemon, it's time for us to fire a Hyper Beam at it, blah! And with a Hyper Beam at the Weeping Bell, easy, it's basically dead. And Gloom also taking a Hyper Beam right to the face, and obviously that's all it's gonna take out the Gloom. And there we go! Erika is basically a joke, because our team is really, really strong. And for beating Erika, not only do we get the Rainbow Badge, but we also get TM for Mega Drain, which on our Gengar, it's basically going to be looking pretty good. Mega Drain isn't really that great of a move. It's only like, what, 40-50 base attack power. But we need another special attack move that's not Psychic. So Mega Drain is going to have to do for now. And while we're at our winning streak, we might as well go and take on Koga right now, to basically get his soul badge from him. Koga in Pokemon Yellow, he has 3 Venonats and a Venomoth. But with a Houdini the Alakazam, which does know Psychic at level 38, because we don't need to waste a TM on it, we can start plowing right through his Venonat. So Venonat 1 is taken out. Venonat number 2 is going to meet the exact same fate as his brethren. Venonat number 3 also meets the exact same fate because it's a Venonat and its brothers have fallen. And the Big Daddy himself, Venomoth, is also going to fall. Oh, whoa. He actually survives a Psychic and he actually goes for the Leech Life. And ironically enough, it actually crits me, but we live at only 12 HP. And I was like, oh my gosh, if Alakazam would have gotten taken out right there, I would have just been basically pretty peeved, especially with the fact that I'm supposed to showcase you just how busted Alakazam is, just for us to get taken out by Venomoth. But we didn't. We take out Venomoth, and we got our 5th gym badge, and Alakazam still proves why it's busted. And now with our 5th gym badge, we could go and take on the Silph Company. But before we take on the Silph Company, we gotta go into the power plant to get TM25 Thunder. Which Thunder is a pretty good move in Gen 1. It's not better than Thunderbolt. And Thunder only has like, I think 80 accuracy, 80 or 70 accuracy. But for Starmie, that's actually still at least pretty good because we don't need Water Gun. Because Water Gun is not a good move at this stage in the game. And we got Thunder, which is a pretty solid electric type move. It's honestly the 2nd best electric type move behind Thunderbolt. But now with Starmie knowing Thunder, we can go and take on the Silph Company. But before that, we also have to grab the car key for the elevator. At least it's better than the guy who dropped the lift key. Except to be fair, at least that one was a lot more hilarious. And of course, the toilet has to show up at Silph Company to basically ruin our day and have a Pokemon battle. See, I told you guys, toilet actually works for Team Rocket. Nobody basically believes that our rival works for Team Rocket, but this actually proves that he does. However, with this battle here, our rival does have a Sand Slash, and it does take a 2-shot from our Alakazam to take it out. Ironically, our rival's currently at almost close to our exact same levels here. Here's the thing with the rival at Silph Co. I don't think we're gonna struggle too much against him. Because, let's be honest here, with an Alakazam on our team, which is a very strong Pokemon, I really don't believe we're gonna have too much to worry about. The only really annoying thing is the fact that Sand Slash got a Sand attack against Alakazam. And Valcoister got a Supersonic on me, so that's gonna be a bit annoying. But to be fair here, I don't think we're gonna have too much threat to worry about. The other thing that's pretty annoying is that with the Kadabra, it does have Recover. So really we're gonna have to switch out Alakazam at some point. Eventually I end up realizing that we need to switch out Alakazam against Kadabra. Because Kadabra, its special defense is still pretty good. Like, it's not better than Alakazam, but its special stat is still pretty good. Eventually I end up realizing that, especially when I went for the Psychic on it, and it didn't really do half to the Kadabra. Mostly because of the fact that its special defense is pretty good. And it always goes for the Recover, which means I know I'm probably gonna lose up on my PP, which in Gen 1, our opponent's PP doesn't go out compared to us, so we have to take that in mind. But honestly here with Tauros, I do believe we could easily just one-shot the Kadabra because its defense is our paper towel. And with our newly launched Earthquake with Tauros, I don't believe Jolteon would actually survive an Earthquake. Even if it's basically a critical hit, but I don't think it really would matter too much because, again, Tauros is really good. And we end up being our rival Toilet, or Team Rocket Toilet. And if you talk to this guy right here, he'll give us a Lapras. Which Lapras is a pretty good Pokemon though, so I wouldn't count on Lapras. Which if you guys want to use Lapras instead of Starmie, that is fine as well. But I do believe Starmie's the better Pokemon. But Lapras is pretty good as well. But even though we didn't go and heal up, I am not too worried about Jesse and James. Because it's Jesse and James. Watch and learn from the Houdini. We use Psychic on the Weezing, and it basically one-shots it with a pointless critical hit. We use Psychic on the Arbok, and again, it's also another one-shot. Arbok ain't gonna take that whatsoever. And Meowth, we're just gonna use Psybeam against it. Like, it's just basically gonna get one-shotted. And there we go. That was Jesse and James in a nutshell. This is the final time we get to face Jesse and James in Pokemon Yellow. And their first battle is easily the most difficult one. Other than that, they are basically pretty much a joke, like in the anime. And I don't need to heal up against Giovanni. I am fully confident in our team that we could be able to beat Giovanni without needing to go and heal up. So Giovanni, our Team Rocket boss, he has a Nidorino. But again, we lead off with an Alakazam, and we don't know how this is going to turn out with the Nidorino. Because it's a Nidorino, it's easily going to get one-shotted, and there's nothing to really worry about from it. Then as for the Persian, we gotta go for the Psychic on it, and that also is a clean one-shot on the Persian. Whitehorn is definitely gonna get one-shotted with the Psybeam. Like, let's be honest here, it's a Whitehorn. Its special defense is a crap. And as for the Nidoqueen, obviously we gotta go for the Psychic on it, because it's at least special defensive bulky. And with a critical hit, we easily took out the Nidoqueen and level up to 42 in the process. And Giovanni has just fallen, and we get to learn Reflect as well, which means we don't need Teleport anymore, and we got to learn Reflect. So, Giovanni, you are not really that good. Like, let's be honest here, you're not strong at all. You're no boss. You just suck before our team. But anyways, Mr. President, we end up rescuing you, and he's gonna thank us for everything. And he's gonna give us whatever we want. And I want 1 million rare candies. But instead he gives us a Master Ball. So, I mean, I guess that'll do it. But we don't really need the Master Ball for anything. So, yeah, I would take the rare candies instead. And I was having so much fun that I completely forgot that I hadn't faced the Karate Master yet with the Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. So, let's just have a little fun bit, shall we? With our Gengar, which is currently at level 40, we could just one-shot the Hitmonlee with a Psychic. And as for the Hitmonchan, it doesn't get the special defense like it does get in the later games, which means the special defense is utter crap. So with a clean Psychic, we get to basically send this Black Belt Master right into retirement funds. And we'll just grab ourselves a pointless Hitmonlee. Like, Hitmonlee's not a good Pokemon in Gen 1. It gets high jump kick, which is pretty good. But other than that, it's not a good Pokemon in Gen 1. But now with all that out of the way, let's go and officially take on Sabrina right now. So now we're gonna go and take on basically my most favorite gym leader of Pokemon, which is Sabrina. So Sabrina, like how she was in the anime, she has an Abracadabra and Alakazam, which, to be fair, the only thing we have to worry about her is the Alakazam. But with a Body Slam, we could just take out the Abra easily. I mean, it's an Abra. As for the Kadabra, we get to basically one-shot it with a Body Slam. As for the Alakazam, it actually went for the Psy Wave, which I'm actually kind of surprised it actually went for the Psy Wave. I was expecting it to go for the Reflect, but it didn't. And with a Hyper Beam, we could basically just one-shot the Alakazam. And that's it for Sabrina. Yeah, Tauros, again, really good. It basically just takes out all Sabrina's Pokemon pretty easily. And that's the most difficult gym leader pretty much out of the way. Like, let's just be honest here. Maybe except for the 8th gym leader, in at least Yellow. If we're going by the original Red and Blue, it's Sabrina who's the most difficult. And with her down, I do believe the rest of the gym leaders should be pretty easy, honestly. But now we make it all the way to Cinnabar. And now, while at the Cinnabar Mansion, we could grab ourselves TM14, which contains the move Blizzard. And we could teach it right to our Tauros and get rid of Stomp from it. And now, with all that said, almost all of our Pokemon have our fully complete moves. We just need to train up one Pokemon in order for us to get our final move to teach it. Before that, we grab ourselves the secret key, which is gonna help us unlock Blaine's gym. But before that, we have to go and do a little bit more training, if you know what I mean. I leveled up my Jolteon all the way to level 42, and we're about to learn the move Thunder Wave. And we could just get rid of Quick Attack because Honestly, we need Pin Missile. We'll keep Double Kick and Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt. And now with all that said and done, all of our Pokemon have our fully completed moves. I do believe we're gonna have a really good time with our pretty much now a fully complete team at this stage in the game. But before we continue even more any further, still got more training to do. And so guys, I leveled up my team all the way from level 47 to 49 for us to go and take on our 7th and 8th gym leader. And so, let's go. And so, we're going to be battling against the Riddle Master lover Blaine, who leads off with a Ninetales at level 48. And now we're up to par with him, and we have Amnesia plus Surf, which, those two moves combined, they're gonna take out Blaine. Like, let's be honest here, we need to show off the true power of our Snorlax, because we haven't used him yet. With Snorlax, we can mostly just set up a couple of Amnesias, because really the only thing we have to worry about with the Ninetales is if we have to keep hitting ourselves in confusion, but we don't mostly. And I do believe with a couple of Amnesias, we could just take out the Ninetales with a Surf. Like, honestly, Ninetales isn't really that threatening. And as for the Rapidash, again, same thing. With plus 4 Amnesias, with Surf, I do believe we're just gonna take it out. Like, let's be honest here, Blaine isn't really gonna be that difficult. And as for the Arcanine, even though it's level 54, it does have Fire Blast, which it is semi gonna do a little bit of numbers, but even though it got the burn on me, but the main issue is the fact that we're not using any physical attacks, we're special attacking. So as a result of that, the burn means nothing, and we get to one-shot the Arcanine, and that's Blaine out of the way. So I'm showing you guys the power of Snorlax here, even though, yes, you could use Starmie or Tauros. But I want to give Snorlax some love. Like, let's be honest here. We gotta show some love to the boy. But now after showing our love to the Snorlax, it's time for us to show some love for us to get our 8th gym badge from Giovanni himself. AKA the boss of Team Rocket. AKA our final gym leader. So Giovanni does lead off with a lower 50 Doug Trio, which, to be fair, I don't think we have to worry too much about Doug Trio. It's not really that bulky, and we have a Starmie up front. That's 2 levels behind it, and with a clean Surf, we get to basically one-shot the Doug Trio. It's not really that difficult. Persian, I am a little bit concerned with. I don't think Surf is gonna one-shot it. And it does know Slash, which is always gonna get a critical hit. And the other annoying thing is the fact it does also have Double Team, which means if it sets up a lot, then it's gonna be very annoying. Plus the fact that in Gen 1, Double Team with the missing, it has still a pretty high chance for us to miss, even though it only has a +1 evasionness, which is just so dumb. But other than that, we don't have to worry too much about the Persian. And the main issue is we have to hope this Surf actually does one-shot the Needle Queen here. But Needle Queen might take it. It basically does take it. And funny enough, Giovanni also has God Specs, which is just hilarious how he actually used it. Even though he could have actually taken out Starmie with a Thunder, which it does know Thunder. But Giovanni just flat out wasted his turn, and we get to take out the Needle Queen, and Needle King ain't surviving a Surf. Like, its special defense is not as good compared to Needle Queen. And even then, its special stat and period is not as good compared to Needle Queen. And as for the Rhydon, it's Rhydon. It's gonna get one-shotted. So yeah, Giovanni could have taken out Starmie, but wasted his turn with a God Spec, which does happen a lot with the AI. So we gotta take advantage of just how dumb the AI can be. And with that said, we got our 8th gym badge. And now we get to go and take on the Elite Four. And then we basically just say bye-bye to Giovanni. Like, Giovanni doesn't even come back in Gen 2. So he just mostly comes back until Hawk Gold and Soul Silver, pretty much. But now it's time for us to go and take on the Elite Four. But before we do that, we gotta go to the toilet. No, seriously, we have to basically take on Toilet here. So Toilet's basically just gonna ran off with a Sand Slash. And let's be honest here, we have a Starmie up front. Honestly, Starmie could take out like his first 3 Pokemon because the AI is always programmed to send out Sandslash first, then send out the... Oh. He actually sends out the Execute instead. Oh. Most of the time the AI would send out like Ninetales, but anyways, it didn't really matter because Ice Beam would just one-shot the Execute because it's an Execute. And then with the Ninetales, we could just one-shot with the Surf. So it's really not going to be that difficult. So because of that, next up would be Cloyster, and we just need to hit a Thunder. And of course we missed the Thunder, and so that's like the obvious one. But the second time around, we actually do in fact land the Thunder. And honestly, that's going to one-shot the Cloyster because it's Thunder and Cloyster's special defense. I mean, its special stats, it's pretty good, but it's not really the best special stat in the world. I always keep messing up thinking that special attack and special defense are separate, but in actuality the special stats are exactly the same. So yeah, Cloyster's special stat is not really the best. But with the Kadabra, I do believe we can just take it out pretty easily. Because with Astami, I don't think we have to worry too much about a Kadabra at all. The only thing we do have to switch on would have to be the Jolteon. Because obviously this thing does carry Thunder, but with Thunder Wave, it obviously was just gonna use it. And really, here's the thing here. I do believe Earthquake would probably still one-shot the Jolteon, because Jolteon, it's not really a bulky Pokemon at all, and we're Tauros. And I do believe 100% that the Earthquake would one-shot it, and sure enough, it pretty much does one-shot it. So it really wasn't that difficult at all in the slightest. And yeah, Toilet, he really wasn't too bad, honestly. So anyways, we officially beat a Toilet. And before we do take on the Elite Four, I do have to do some training. So because of that, we have to level up our team some more before we do in fact go and take on the Elite Four. But yeah, I just want to say we're almost coming to the close at the end of this game. So I'm actually pretty impressed with how well our team is currently doing. I think that our team is really strong. And I do believe, I'm pretty confident we could actually take on the Elite Four here. The Elite Four in this game, I'm only really worried about Lance because of one Pokemon, but other than that, really, I do believe we could have a pretty good time against the Elite Four, honestly. But now, it's time we move on to Elite Four, but before that, I'm gonna show you guys the team after I train them up. First things first, we have Theodore the Snorlax at level 60, with the moves Body Slam, Amnesia, Rest, and Surf. Next up, we have Ruby Madness the Starmie, also level 60, with the moves Recover, Thunder, Surf, and Ice Beam. Next, we got Spoopy the Gengar at level 58, with the moves Mega Drain, Hypnosis, Nightshade, and Psychic. Next, we got Volts the Jolteon at level 59, with the moves Thunderbolt, Pin Missile, Double Kick, and Thunder Wave. Next up, we got Houdini the Alakazam at level 61, with the moves Reflect, Psychic, Recover, and Psybeam. And last but not least, we have Bullhorn the Tauros at level 61, with the moves Earthquake, Blizzard, Body Slam, and Hyper Beam. So this is going to be the team we're going to be using to take on the Elite Four with for our challenge run. And I do believe our team is really good, and I'm confident we could beat the Elite Four. But before we do that, it's time I give you guys some recommendations and replacements of Alakazam and Gengar. The first recommending Pokemon is Venusaur for a replacement for Gengar. Venusaur, most of the time you're going to be teaching it basically just Razor Leaf and Sleep Powder and just go to town with it. The other one I recommend is Leech Seed as a pretty good absorbing move to gain you back some HP. Unfortunately, Venusaur can't learn the move Strength in Gen 1, so as a result of that, we're going to have to compensate, so I guess teach a Double Edge. I know some people are going to say, why not teach a Body Slam? The thing is, Body Slam's a really good move on Tauros, and you don't want to get rid of Body Slam on Tauros for anything else. So because of that, I would probably teach Venusaur Double Edge. You could find the move Double Edge at the Rocket Hideout. And now for a replacement for Alakazam. The problem is, originally I was going to say Jinx, but the issue is that you can't get Jinx in Pokemon Yellow. You can only get it through a trade evolution in Red and Blue. So unfortunately, Jinx is off the table here. And sadly, there's not a good psychic type to replace Alakazam with. I guess you could say Starmie would be your replacement for your psychic type. So as a result of that, what is going to be your replacement? The other one I do recommend is probably Charizard. I mean, I say Charizard because you don't really need a flying type. But if you guys do want a Pokemon to fly, I guess you could use Charizard instead. The only other one is Dragonite, but the issue is that if you're teaching all your Pokemon these moves that Dragonite can learn, which means you can't get another TM for it. So unfortunately, Dragonite mostly is going to be off the table. So really the best one is honestly going to be Charizard. The moves for Charizard, honestly just have it have Flamethrower and Slash and just go to town pretty much. You can teach it Fly so you don't have to keep walking around or keep depositing a Pokemon to bring in an HM Slave. And the last move, I guess Fire Spin, but mostly you're just going to be using Flamethrower and Slash, and that's basically about it. Charizard is a pretty good Pokemon, but it's not going to be a good replacement for Alakazam, let alone Jinx. But for what we could compensate, I guess Charizard would have to do. If you guys are playing Red and Blue, easily Jinx. But here, I guess Charizard. And I also forgot to mention, now that you don't have the TM for Psychic on Gengar anymore, I guess you can teach it to Starmie now. In its replacement, you could get rid of Recover for it. And that way it would have to move Surf, Ice Beam, Thunder, and Psychic. Which, Starmie is going to be mostly a go-to Pokemon against the Elite Four in that one. So yeah, Starmie is going to be actually a lot better now that you don't have Gengar around. But Gengar is easily a really good Pokemon. And without Gengar, Starmie would basically be a lot better. So Starmie is gonna solo the entire Elite Four mostly. Or mostly at least the Elite Four members. Other than the first one. And now for all the introductions out of the way for our team, it's finally time for us to take on the Elite Four. For us to prove ourselves that we can become a Pokemon Master. And so, let's do this. Okay, first things first, we got Lorelei, she's leading off with Dugong, and we have a level 59 Jolteon. Honestly, with a Jolteon, I do believe this is gonna be very easy here. Obviously, we're gonna one-shot the Dugong. As for Cloyster, its special stat is not very good. And Jolteon's special stat is really good, so Cloyster's taken out. I am a little bit worried about Slowbro taking at least one Thunderbolt, but with a clean critical hit, we could just one-shot the Slowbro. As for the Jinx, I do believe it might take a Thunderbolt, and we got a clutch critical hit, so Jinx won't be surviving a Thunderbolt here. And as for the Lapras, with a clean Thunderbolt, I do believe we might one-shot it. And look at what we have here. Another critical hit. Yeah, that's Lorelei out of the way. Lorelei really wasn't that difficult. We did get lucky with the crits, but Lorelei was pretty easy. But you wanna know what's even easier? It's now time for us to send Bruno to his early retirement. Let's do this. We use Psybeam on Onix and one Pokemon down. We use Psybeam on the Hitmonchan and two Pokemon down. We use Psybeam on the Hitmonlee and that's three Pokemon down. We use Psybeam on the Onix and we're about to take it out. That's four Pokemon down. And in the most annoying voice possible, one Psychic will take out the Machamp. And we just sent Bruno to his retirement. So, yep, I'm showing you guys just how much of a joke Bruno is. And you know what else is another joke? It's time for us to send Agatha to our early, her late retirement. Yeah, that's what I meant. But anyways, she leads off with a Gengar. And Gengar, it is specially defensive. So with a Psychic, honestly, because Alakazam, our stats is pretty good and we're level 61, I honestly believe we could just one-shot the Gengar. So yeah, Gengar was pretty easy to take out. Golbat, it's Golbat. Like, it's not gonna survive a Psybeam. So with one clean side beam, I do believe we just completely one-shot the Golbat. I do want to go for the Psychic on the Haunter because its special stat is actually better than Golbat, and we did level up to 62. And yeah, that Haunter isn't really going to survive a Psychic. And Arbok, it's Arbok. We faced Arbok so many times with Jessie. So really, against Agatha's Arbok, we don't have to worry too much about Agatha's one at all. And as for her main Gengar, that's level 60. Gengar could survive a Psychic. Mostly because, again, it's a Gengar, but because we're 2 levels above it, we could just one-shot the Gengar. So sometimes Gengar can survive one hit, but more than half the time it's just going to go for Nightshade and we can just take out the Gengar right after. So really, I don't believe Agatha really isn't that difficult. And now as for Lancelot, honestly, because we're not switching out because I have the game on SEP mode, this might be a little bit more challenging, but honestly, with a Starmie, I do believe we can have a much more easier time taking out Lance. Maybe. He does open up with the Gyarados, and as long as we don't actually miss a Dundo, which we basically didn't miss a Dundo at all, and that's easy gonna one-shot the Gyarados. That could take out a million Gyaradoses with basically no issue whatsoever. But now we have a Dragonair, which, again, we're 4 levels above it, and with an Ice Beam, I do believe we could just take out a Dragonair, and there we go. Dragonair gets taken out. It could survive a hit, and it does have Thunderbolt though, so I do want to keep that in mind. But we didn't really have to worry too much about it, especially when both the Dragonairs do get taken out. So we don't have to worry too much about Thunder Wave nor Thunderbolt. And as for the Aerodactyl, we outspeed it. And I do believe with one Surf, we could take it out with a one-shot, because Aerodactyl is not really that good special defensive at all. And with that said, we get to take out Aerodactyl, and Vicious leads his Dragonite. Dragonite does have Thunder, which is the thing I'm a little bit worried about if we don't one-shot the Dragonite, but it is 4 times effective with Ice Beam, and we do actually take out the Dragonite and we beat Lance. So yeah, Lance was pretty easy for us this time around, and we get to become Pokemon League champions. However, there's one trainer standing between us and the Champion League, and that is Toilet. So, we gotta send Toilet to the John now. And so, let's go do it now. Okay, the championship battle begins against Toilet. Our final battle in the entire game. All rest between this one battle. We get to lead off with our Starmie with against Sandslash. And honestly, I'm not too worried about it because I believe one Surf will easily take out the Sandslash. And that's basically 1 Pokemon down and 5 more to go. Alakazam comes out next. The only thing I have to worry about Alakazam is if it keeps on going for a cover, which is the only thing that makes it very annoying. And obviously Kinesis, because if we keep missing Surfs, which we end up doing just now, oh boy, it's gonna be so annoying. But even though it does actually use Recover here, with a Surf though, I do believe we could 2-shot it as long as it actually hits a Surf. And obviously it gets a 3 Side Beam against us, which is not gonna do a whole lot. And we actually do take out the Alakazam with a Surf. Honestly, again, I'm not way too concerned about the Alakazam here, even though that's easily his most difficult Pokemon. With Exeggutor, which is his 3rd Pokemon, the only grass type move it has is Leech Seed, which is going to be pretty annoying, but it has no Mega Drain, it has no Solar Beam, and so because of that, we don't have to worry about the Exeggutor at all. And with 2 Ice Beams, we could just take it out, and that's half of Toilet's team down. The only issue I do have is that I actually really do hope Thunder hits, but it didn't. So really, I do believe that was gonna happen eventually. Like, to be fair, with 1 minus accuracy, and this is Gen 1 mechanics, honestly, I figured that was gonna happen at some point. But even though Cloyster is getting, like, Spike Cannon against us, I'm not really too worried about it. But to be fair, I decided I'm going to switch out because the thing is, I'm not going to take any chances with Thunder. with its accuracy being pretty bad, as well as the fact that we got Kinesis. And we can just make a safe switch right into Jolteon, especially with the Clamp Miss, and just take out the Cloyster with a Thunderbolt. And just make it pretty easy for us. Honestly, we're going to be switching out anyways. To be fair, I do want to get a Thunder Wave off against the Ninetales for us to get a safe switch right into Tauros. Because we want Tauros in order to take out Jolteon. Because that's our main Pokemon. And thankfully, Ninetales does mostly just go for Tail Whips, which it basically fails. And it also got fully paralyzed. And obviously, I wasn't too worried about the Ninetales, especially now that we can just two-shot it. It really wasn't that difficult. The only thing we have to hope for is that Jolteon gets one-shotted with an Earthquake. And with insanely high attack style from a Tauros, and Jolteon isn't really that bulky, if we could one-shot the Jolteon with an Earthquake, we basically become champions. And sure enough, we basically one-shot the Jolteon. And there we go. We beat the Elite Four with 0 Pokemon fainting. And I don't think I ever used a single item in the Elite Four. Now, when you really think about it, I didn't use any potions, revives, full heals, full restores. I used none of that. And I still won. That just goes to show just how really good my team building for Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow actually is. So yeah, guys, what do I think about this challenge? I am gonna say this, I actually had a lot of fun playing with the Gen 1 games. Mostly because just how busted they are. Mostly because of how broken some things are. Which actually makes this one actually a lot more fun because we get to exploit all the busted, broken things of how flawed Gen 1 actually is. With the busted Psychic types, Hyper Beam, as well as so many other stuff like critical hits. Which, imagine if the crit stats still exist to this day. Oh man, imagine Katana or, Regieleki? Imagine them with the speed stat, Deoxys speed. Oh man, dude, imagine them with the Gen 1 mechanics. Wow, that would actually been so broken. But yeah, overall, I am proud of this team, and I had such a great time with this challenge. And I'm hoping to do more challenges like this in the future. I do have plans to do it for Pokemon Crystal, Emerald, Fire and Leaf Green. I have plans to do all those other games for this challenge run. So it's going to be really fun, and I hope you guys are going to be looking forward to it, because I'm going to be looking forward to it as well. I'm hoping to be doing Crystal maybe sometime later next week, maybe the following week, maybe sometime after. But Crystal will be coming out. I promise you guys that. I mean, to be fair, I can't really promise, but I am going to be doing Crystal. And so anyways, guys, if you guys do like the video for this challenge, then make sure you guys like the video down below and all that to show your support. Next time will be Crystal, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Because Crystal, I actually do have some plans for the best Crystal team. And I hope you guys are going to be looking forward to that when it comes out. And so, until then, I'll see you guys next time for when Pokemon Crystal does come out. And so, take care, guys.